Welcome, everybody. We are here with Nate Carver. This is going to be an incredible episode. Nate, thank you for being here.
Hey, Chris, thanks for having me as your guest. That's exciting.
Okay, so you shared with me on one of the calls that we were on, Built with Chris, or one of the other, that you are doing this postcard strategy. I thought it was absolute genius. Would you mind just like tell everybody what you're doing, and then we'll walk through it a little bit.
Okay, so I've got a postcard.
Yeah.
This was the Christmas one, and I've committed to sending. That's me. If you can see that, if you're watching this, that's me on the beat being Santa Claus, with the real beard too.
That's amazing.
Um, so I wanted to create something that would take my snail mail campaign
Yep.
and integrate it into my CRM for people I don't know
Yep.
in my sphere of influence, my community, right? And this is outside of my database. This is people that don't necessarily have a realtor, but they bought a house in the last 2.5 years or so
Okay.
that I don't know. And my hypothesis is I'm counting on loan officers not communicating with them after closing.
Right. Which is
Uh,
a pretty good assumption.
yes. Okay. So I created a postcard, and I wanted it in my CRM. That's key, the AI part. So created a postcard, and on the back of it, it's got all my contact information on one side of it, and then the other half of it is it's a hey, Merry Christmas, Nate Carver, your local mortgage lender. I would love to connect with you. And then I included a dad joke, but only half of the dad joke. If they want to hear the rest of the dad joke, they have to scan the QR code.
Okay.
So when they scan the QR code, takes them to a web page, a landing page, a WordPress page that has a YouTube video that has the rest of the whole dad joke, and then it has a call to action, which is, hey, would you like to explore an annual mortgage review, or would you like to explore some ways to save money? 9 different ways to save money. There's all kinds of things I could tag on to the dad joke, and right below that is a contact capture. All I need, remember, because of the snail mail, I have their address, I have their first name and last name for both borrowers. All I need is a phone number and an email address. So if they fill that capture information out, uh, it's tied to the AI CRM, and it imports right into a drip campaign with a call to action to call them,
Yep.
um, set up an appointment with them, and then there's an email campaign. All of this is set up through the AI CRM, with the exception of the snail mail. Cost me $300 to get the list, well, to get the number of cards that I wanted to mail.
Yep.
But I set up the WordPress landing page is is part of the AI CRM.
Yep.
The QR code to take them to that landing page is part of the AI CRM. The list of homeowners that bought within the last 2 years, that's the date I picked, time frame I picked, that list is in Redder, which is in the AI CRM.
So,
uh,
I'm
yeah.
sorry, Nate. I got to stop you there. So, tell me about this list because this is the first time a lot of people are going to be hearing about this. So, these aren't past customers. They're not
Right.
center of influence. These people have no idea who you are. So, you went into Redder, and what was the criteria for the list that you pulled up?
So I picked my hometown,
Okay.
and then a radius of about 20 miles to
Okay.
within Redder, and I identified home buyers between. I skipped the first, going backwards on the calendar. I skipped the first 6 months. So I
Yep.
went from 2 years before that. So 2.5 years from now into the past. And I pulled every buyer, new purchase, um, VA loan, conventional loan, FHA loan. And what was really nice about that was that in that 2.5, in that 2 year window, We had the highest interest rates in the
Yep.
last 3 years. And because the reason I went back 6 months and left that gap is to account for the 210 days that borrowers need for their loan to cure. So there's no penalties to anybody at whatever. So I skipped that, right? Um, and so that created a list in my area. So I live out in the country. So that was 300 home purchases within a very small diameter of my house or radius of my house. And yeah, which is my whole that's my neighbors.
That's
Um,
amazing.
yeah, cost me so that was actually free because I'll say free. It's baked into the cost of the AI CRM because I can pull so many a month,
300 a month. Yeah.
300 a month, and if I wanted to pull more, I could. Um, so I'm using this as a test bed, but each month I'm going to engage these same 300 households because it's more than that. It's probably closer to 600 to count husband and wife. So 300 households um, for the next year, once a month with the piece of mail that's going to cost me with the stamp, the production of the postcard. I think it's going to cost me a little over $300 a month to do this. And the engagement, even if I engage 1% of that, this is a create relationships and referral partners out of that. 1% of 300, those are a month in loans, right? So that's I think that's what the goal. I think that's what's going to happen. Um, it's kind of funny because taking the snail mail, I can see the hits on the video on YouTube, so I know I'm getting they're scanning it, right? Of course,
Mhm.
they may not fill out, whatever. That's okay. They've got next month, and I'm just warming them up, and they're gonna see my beautiful mugshot and funny postcard every month.
That is
That's it.
absolutely amazing, Nate.
Yeah, and it's all of it was done in the CRM, and it's all there. It's tied. It's the beautiful part is that it's now I've taken something that's hardware, the card, and I've connected it to my software, the AI CRM, and so and it just I get a notice anytime somebody scans and fills in the capture information. I get the notice, so I have my call to action.
That is amazing. Have you connected with any of these people yet?
Not yet, but the first one I sent out was the Christmas card.
Oh,
So
awesome.
I guess as fun as that was, I think maybe I had a low expectation on the first card because who wants they're busy. It's Christmas, right?
Uh-huh.
But that card actually I know that card delivered on the 22nd. So my January card is timed for the end of the month, so
Yep.
that's going out this week. And then it'll just each month it'll continue. So I think we'll see. The expectation within a year's time, I've developed relationships, and I'm not
Absolutely.
thinking
And you
about
will.
all.
I'm a
Yeah,
student of Dan Kennedy, and they always say with direct mail, the third mailer is where it really starts. And you're already generating leads inside the CRM, but it's the third mailer when people really start to like get used to it and start to reach out and build the brand
hmm
to it. But your genius of seeing the people in the system, putting the whole process together, I'm so proud of you, man. This is
yeah.
just great, Nate. I think it's awesome.
That's pretty cool. So one
So
year.
the not database strategy, do you think that's a good thing?
That's right. Well, again, I'm counting on realtors or realtors. I'm counting on loan officers in my area not keeping in touch with their homeowners. Counting on, and I know that's an Achilles heel in our industry. So I'm
That's
going to take
awesome.
advantage of it.
So that is one way that you've got, an octopus arm out into
Yep.
the marketplace. You've got another one for qualified agents. Can we talk about, because you're crushing it with
Yeah.
qualified agent referral relationships. Can we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. Let's talk about that. I love it. So when I'm sick, my phone's still ringing. Is there someone calling on my behalf? When I'm traveling, someone's still calling on my behalf. To qualified real estate agents and scheduling appointments for me. And And when I'm making calls myself, someone else is still making calls. So it's just doubling my effort. So um, for the time that I'm using them, they're making calls and scheduling. I'm getting 4 uh, kept appointments a week from AI from the Connect, and so their calls for me, I'm getting 4 scheduled appointments from
A
their
week.
efforts. Yeah, a
Now,
week.
just to give context, because there's a lot of people here that maybe, newer to the podcast or that aren't, you know, dailies on the Loan Officer Breakfast Club, which they should be. But so there might be people out there that don't understand the strategy that we're doing. So I'm just going to unpack it for just a second. And
Okay.
then I got some follow-up questions, but I'll be brief. I promise. I know how
Okay.
busy you are. Okay, so what Nate is doing is he's calling out to qualified real estate agents in his local marketplace. And now you've expanded out a little bit, right?
Yep. I've expanded out in the 4 different states.
That's amazing. So you're getting appointments with qualified real estate agents in completely different states that are meeting with you over the phone.
That's right.
That is amazing. And are you doing just phone appointments or are you doing Zoom calls?
It is 90% phone
Perfect.
appointments, and that I will convert that to a Zoom call. My Yeah, I want to get them into a Zoom call, whether that's my podcast or just a one-on-one Zoom or a Zoom with their team. Absolutely, because it's another touch point. Visually, they get to see me, and yeah. But that first phone call conversation with them is almost always a phone call. It's almost a phone call, always.
Okay. So you do the phone call first, then you move into a Zoom meeting, and you're booking appointments in other states, and they're still showing up and they're meeting with you. So walk us through the strategy of you doing the effort. We'll talk about, we're making calls for Nate and booking appointments for him, but when you're doing the calls, what does that look like? How many calls do you have to make until you talk to somebody, out of the conversations? How many do you book? Typically, what does it look like?
So when I'm making the calls, I'm my goal is to do at least 42 calls a day, outbound calls to real estate agents,
That's,
Monday through Thursday.
that is a
So
very specific number. How did you
it
pick
is.
42?
Um, so it's the end result. I guess I did the backwards math, and so at 42, I'm averaging. Now this is what I'm averaging. I'm getting 12 conversations out of 42 phone calls. And out of those 12, I'll get 4 to book.
Yep.
And out of those
Wow.
4 that will book, for me, it's me. I get 1 that'll keep. And that's okay. I mean, that 1 that keeps will say yes because I'm irresistible. I put on the Carver charm. No, I have design scripts that I use or design conversations and tell them what I'm known for, and that 1 will become a referring partner. That one's the math on that is like $36,000 pay raise a
Yep.
year. That's how I see it. So I'm happy. You know, 1, I love it. That's me doing it, but y'all have trained uh, experts in call center calling. They know what they're doing. They know scripts. That they have these design conversations, and they don't tell me how many. Well, they do tell me, and I don't know the number, but I
That's
focus on
okay.
the
That's totally okay.
yeah. They've told me, and I just focus on the end result, and I'm seeing 4 booked appointments a week that I didn't have to book.
Yep.
And those keep because they follow up and make sure that they're gonna be there, and so they have a high retention or a high follow through on the call itself. So
That's awesome. Yeah, we normally see like some are like as low as 60, but some are over 80% of the appointments that are booked that are kept, right? Like we're always trying to get the loan officers to give us feedback on like who showed up, who can we help follow up with on that on your behalf and that sort of. So 4 booked appointments a week that are
mhm.
that are kept, like people that are showing up. So you're doing about
Yep,
16 appointments with realtors a month that are just like pre-booked for you.
that's correct. That I didn't
Awesome.
have to book. Yeah.
And what does that look like? Are they pushy on the phone? Are they actually qualified people? What does it look like on the other side of the phone?
So they're actually qualified realtors. Again, I use the AI CRM, and Redder produces a list for me each month. I pick the area that I want to focus on, and I pull in about 300 realtors from that area and queue them up in the dialer for myself and for the your team, and they set those calls up. And when they answer the phone, they know who I am. I guess another component of this octopus marketing is that every one of those people, since I have their name, phone number, and email address, are in my social media. They're in my advertising, my marketing scheme. So I'm not really a stranger to them. It's interesting. They'll answer the phone excited, like they kind of know me,
Yeah,
and it's not a cold call. It's just this fun it ends up being a really fun introductory phone call. Sometimes it leads right into a coffee meeting on the spot. Like I just clear my schedule and we're gonna talk for the next 30 minutes, and it works out nicely because I mean, while the strike while the iron's hot
yeah,
is
that's right.
you know.
Absolutely.
So I've done that, and that I just did that this morning, and it was a wonderful phone call, instant relationship. Got her dialed in with what I'm doing and what she's looking to achieve, and we're gonna have a great relationship moving forward. And that's in a state I've never been to, and yeah, you know, I'm just
That's
like, this is great.
That is amazing. And so, this is not high pressure and it's totally cool if you don't, but do you have a rough idea of like in a month, how many like quality, like move forward conversations or, how many people do you put into your Focus 40 list as a result of the people that you talk to?
That's fair. I'm putting in at least 12.
Whoa.
Moving them
Really?
over to Focus 40. So if I'm getting one referral, warm referral each every 4 months, every quarter,
Yep.
every quarter. That's fair. I would say that I'm putting in at least 12, moving them into that next where we're getting a lead from them.
Whoa.
That's where all of my leads are coming from. Is this group of people?
That's
Uh,
incredible. That's amazing, Nate. And a testament to you and your charm on the phone. And, it's just, that is incredible, man. Congratulations, Nate. I'm so happy for you.
yeah. That's it. That's that's fair to say. That's happened in the last um 5 months.
Wow.
I think we started this 6 months ago, 7 months ago,
Yep.
with having the assistants making calls, and uh, we've ramped up into it. And I've gone back and I've requalified agents and made sure that we're dialing the right types of qualified agents. Um, that's been a big part of that. But the ones that have kept, and we've had those conversations, I've if I maintain if I maintain contact with them, I'm gonna get referrals.
Yep.
The more touch points I have with them, the more referrals I get out of them. I've seen that, and so I'm like, well, these are like right now. Right now, I have 87 that have gone through these where I've initial phone call, had the appointment with them. These are all qualified real estate agents that have a book of business that I've met with, and I've followed up with, like, I've got them on podcast with me, so I've got
Mhm.
those to produce. I've got them on some other things that I use, like MoveTube. I've got them in my
Mhm.
CRM. They're getting agent animals. I have all these. The reason I list all those, I have all these touch points with them,
Yeah.
and they see my commercials, and so I'm engaging them. Um, And then about 2 months ago, we committed to start to make sure that when we're making these calls, we ask for the business, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So, because otherwise, I'm just talking to people. And so that discipline, getting that in there, I'm seeing a big a ramp up to where I think the close ratios or closings are going to be substantial come February, March. So right now I've been at a nice average, comfortable, somewhere between 5 and 10 ish a month,
And that's
and
closed loans, right? Like
closed ones.
between 5 and 10 closed loans a month from 87 relationships.
Yeah,
Wow.
and so my thing is I just keep engaging these realtors. They have business. And I'm gonna ask, and I'm asking for it, and you know, I, I'm very excited about 2025.
It's going to be an amazing year.
2024 was my best year. As hard as it was my best year. And it was way better than 2023 by a very large number. And so I think I know it's like I know that the right activity that I'm doing in 2025, I can see it happening in real time. I've been, daily success plan, call
Mm-hmm.
stars, breakfast club, call stars, um, leaning into my CRM is like, how can I fully implement my CRM and really engage, and then having um, people that are making calls on my behalf. I'm like, I don't know how I fail. I really don't. And
That is
so,
amazing.
yeah,
So
I'm excited.
one last question. And again, thank you for being so generous with your time and congratulations on like 5 to 10 loans a month. Nate, that's a big deal. Like that is incredible production. You're very humble about it, but those are great production numbers. And this year is going to be incredible for you. You can already see it because you're farming, right?
Hmm.
It's January, as we record this, so it is time to farm and build those relationships so that we can harvest as the market comes to us. But did you notice a big difference in the amount of referrals that you're getting from these qualified agents when you started asking for the business and like making a concerted effort to use the script and end the call with asking for the business every time?
Yes, I did, and I think it's because I'm actually planting that seed because I know there's other real loan officers calling them or talking. I'm not naive. I know that, and so they have real lenders that they have relationships are all already. But one of my realtor partners, she just let me know last week she's my preferred lender, and the reason she said that is because you don't take me for granted. You
Hmm.
actually ask me.
Hmm.
You've been asking me for if I've got leads or anybody I can help you with. And she's like, others that just kind of take me for granted, like they expect I'm just going to give them
Hmm.
leads. So, uh, and I also think she knows I'm doing this snail mail campaign because I'm kind of hopeful that gives me an opportunity to bring. Sure, they own homes today, but maybe they're going to move. It gives me an opportunity to introduce them to a real estate agent in the future. So anyway, but yeah,
Absolutely. And it will.
don't take them for granted, and we're not just talking. And because I'm asking for it, I think it's planting that seed in their mind. Nate's hungry. Nate wants to work. Nate is going to ask me for who I can help her with, or help
Wow.
him with.
They
Does that work?
actually want you to
They
ask for the business.
they do.
Yeah. That is amazing. Well, Nate, again, thank you for being so generous with your time. Thank you for sharing with the community. I sincerely appreciate it. If I may, one last final question, because
Okay.
over the last 3 years, you've gone through some incredible growth. If you could go back in time to, let's call it 3 years ago, and give yourself one piece of advice, what would that be?
Look at your calendar, your
Hmm.
daily calendar, and your activity, and time block that thing and live by it.
Wow.
So, and that's, we didn't talk about any of that today, but it ties into this because every day I have outbound call activity to qualified real estate agents is scheduled on my calendar and is blocked off, where everything else shuts down, and that's all I do.
Yep.
If I'd have done that in the very beginning, would be probably 3 or 4 years ahead of where I am now. And
Wow.
I think so. I believe that. You know, the scripts, the design conversations will come, but I think just blocking off that time, that this is the hours that I'm going to devote to the sales activity of our careers, and make those outbound calls. 100%. 100%.
Wow. That is very wise words, Nate. That is really powerful advice. Thank you for sharing.
Okay.
Right on. If people want to know more about you and connect with you, where do people go to find out more about you?
NateCarver.com is my website. All my links are there. Yeah, that's the best way. Everything is there at NateCarver.com.
That's awesome. Well, we'll have that in the show notes. Again, to all of our listeners, thank you for listening. We will see you on the next episode. And Nate, thank you so much for sharing.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris.
Right on.